Hello everyone, I am Shupriya Ghoshal, Faculty of Civil Engineering Department of Sri Ramakrishna Institute of Science and Technology. Today I have discussed about the topic that is deep foundation. So firstly we have to know what is the definition of deep foundation. Deep foundation is a type of foundation that transfer building load to the earth surface. From the surface, then a shallow foundation does to the subsurface layer or the range of depth. In other words, if the depth of footing greater or equal to the width of footing, it is known as deep foundation. Deep foundation is used where bearing capacity of soil is very low. The load coming from the superstructure is further transmitted vertically to the soil. Type of foundation: pile foundation, pier foundation, and well foundation. And what is the requirement of deep foundation? Deep foundation are necessary where the bearing capacity of surface soil is not adequate to support loads imposed by the structure, and those loads need to be transferred to the deeper layer with higher bearing capacity. In this slide, I have discussed about type of foundation. First type is pile foundation. In this type of foundation, the load is transmitted by a vertical member. This vertical member is known as a pile. These piles are generally made of steel, concrete and wooden. These precast members are used, but we can create the member on as a well. Classification of pile foundation according to function and according to material. So as per according to function, it is subdivided into two types. One is bearing pile, second one is friction pile. In this slide, I have discussed about bearing pile and friction pile. So firstly, I have discussed about bearing pile. Bearing pile are driven till hard strata or layer of rock beds. The load is transmitted by column to the hard layer of soil. And second one is friction pile. These piles are used where soil is soft at a considerable depth. The load is transferred to the soft soil due to the friction produced between the soft soil which is contact with these piles. In previous slide, I have discussed about classification of pile as per function. In this slide, I have discussed about the classification of pile according to material. It is further divided into four types. First is concrete pile, second wooden pile or timber pile, third steel pile and fourth composite pile. First, concrete pile. The piles which are made with the help of concrete are known as concrete pile. The diameter of this pile varies from 30 to 50 cm. Minimum length of this pile is not taken less than 20 meter and the maximum it can be taken till 30 meter. In this slide, I also discuss about the detailed classification of concrete pile. First is precast or ready-made, second is cast in situ. First, precast. These piles are manufactured in the factory which is further transported to the construction site wherever it is required. This pile can bear load up to 800 kN. What is the advantage of precast pile? First one is it saves our time as these piles are ready to install. Second is by using these piles our construction is done at a greater speed. Third one is for this pile deep excavation is not required. And what is the disadvantage of precast pile? These concrete piles are costly and these precast members are prepared in a factory, then it is transported to the construction site. Transportation charge are also added which increase the ultimate cost of this pile. And second one is cast in situ. These piles are made and manufactured on site where it is installed. So, it saves money as the transportation cost is reduced. These piles bear the load up to 750 kN. In this slide, I have discussed about wooden or timber pile. As the name suggested, these piles are made of wooden, so they are known as wooden or timber pile. For this pile, the sectional timber wood is used. The diameter of timber pile varies in between 20 to 50 centimeter. Next one is steel pile. These piles are generally in shape of eye or hollow section. It can be easily driven into the soil because it has very small cross-sectional area. This pile can be used as a bearing pile, but it can be used as a friction pile because if we use them as a friction pile, it can chunk in the soil due to structural load. In this slide, I have discussed about the composite pile. When the pile are made from more than one material, they known as composite pile. These piles are made from concrete and wood. These piles are used in those areas where the water table is up. These piles are used in such condition just because concrete and wooden both are good water absorbers. What are the advantage of composite pile foundation? First is these piles can be save time. Second one is they are very much economical. Third one is by using this pile system it reduces the needed of excavations. Fourth one is pumping of water is not required as we are not excavating much in soil. In this slide I have discussed about the compaction pile. Compaction piles are used to compact loose granular soil, thus increasing their bearing capacity. The compaction piles are themselves does not carry load. The pile tube driven to compact the soil is gradually taken out and sand is filled in its place, thus forming a sand pile. In this slide I have discussed about tension pile. Tension piles or uplift pile. It anchored down the structure subjected to uplift due to hydrostatic pressure or due to overturning moment. In this slide I have discussed about the other definition of piles, that is fender pile, sheet pile, batter pile and anchor pile. First one is fender pile. It is used to protect waterfront structure against the impact from the ships or other floating objects. Second one is sheet pile, used as impervious cutoff to reduce seepage and uplift under hydraulic structure. Next one is batter pile. It is used to resist larger horizontal or inclined force. Last one is anchor pile. It provides anchorage against horizontal pull from sheet pile or other pulling forces.